Hi there, this is Kristen. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to give you the lowdown on my whole February budget. Now, I have to say, it's not exactly what I expected, but we're gonna make the best of it. We always do. So stick around and see what's going on this month. Okay guys, so I'm here in my budget and I just wanted to tell you quickly, when I do my budget videos, I usually put a little picture of myself up in the corner, but I am a hot mess today. So I am doing this picture free, or I probably wouldn't be able to get it out until next week for you. So here I am in my 2019 budget. If you saw last month's, I will link that up in the cards. Then you know I needed to start a whole new spreadsheet. I'd like to keep it just for the year. That way I can archive them away if I want to each year. I just do my spreadsheet very simply in Google Docs. That way I can access it on my phone if I need to, but I'm also able to make edits or changes from my phone on the go if necessary. And if you've been here before, then you also probably know that I usually do a rough draft on pen and paper because I just feel like I have a little bit more control with pen and paper. I know it's kind of old school with all these electronic options we have, but I really think it actually helps me feel my budget more. I don't even know if that makes sense, but try it sometime. I take the budget sheets from my budget binder and I will link that video up in the cards as well. And I do pretty much just a rough draft. And then what I'll do is I will take that and put it into my spreadsheet. And that way I have an electronic version and the paper version to refer back to. Actually today, since I just decided to do this quickly on the fly, I did not sit down and write my February budget out on pen and paper. I'm also a little early as it's only the third week of January here, but I am curious to see what's going on for February, so I wanted to get a head start. Okay, I cleared this all out, and you know, unfortunately, my husband's income just is not where it was. He gets mandated a lot of time for extra shifts, and when that happens, he is actually paid double time, but that has not really been happening. He also missed a holiday because he had it for a day off. Those paychecks have been substantially lower, which is kind of stressing me out a little bit, but hey, that's why we paid off all our debt, right? So we might not be able to save what I was hoping to save right now, but I'm still able to work from home with my kids and try to build my business, and very, very grateful that he goes and works full-time to support our family. So I am actually going to estimate, if you've never seen any of my videos before, my husband is paid twice a month and I budget around his pay period. So I usually budget the first half of the month. All of that falls within his first pay of the month, and then the second half of the month, and all of those expenses will fall within his second pay of the month. So I'm going to estimate $1,900 for the first half of the month, and I'm actually going to estimate $1,800 for the second half of the month. Now these are estimates. When I get his actual paycheck numbers, I come in here and I just edit these numbers, and then it will actually adjust. It won't adjust my expenses, but what it will adjust is what I have left to go towards our emergency fund, which unfortunately I do not think is going to be a lot this month. So let's get started here. I actually have my budget binder out because I just took the time yesterday to go through all of our expenses and fill out my bill payment tracker and fill out my expense overview. Some of our expenses have actually changed. We did have a couple bills that were under contract and the contracts have expired, and you know what that means. That means the vendors usually raise your rates. So I'm going to make those changes while we're going through the expenses today. We are currently still giving $100 to our church each month, and I hope to increase this very soon. I'm also toying with the thought of keeping that private once we do increase it, only because I feel like what we give to charity is more personal. You know, I'm okay sharing our estimated income. I don't ever share an income breakdown or where it comes from or what the final income is, which is always different than the estimate. But for now, we're just going to keep going the way we are. $100 we give to our church every month. We give $29 here. This is to World Vision, and it helps sponsor a refugee in the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon. Stash, I know I say this each month, but this is actually a portion of my personal money that I invest in kind of just a fun little investing app called Stash. It's just for fun. I've been saving money in there for probably a year and a half now. I've made a lot and now I'm down, but it's just for fun. So I don't really worry about it too much. And it's not a ton of money, so it's not like I'm gonna lose a substantial amount here. So I have $10 that comes out the first half of the month, and then $10 plus a $1 maintenance fee that comes out the second half of the month. I do not order my cat supplies this month. I actually switched. That's on auto ship from Target, and we get our cat litter and our cat food, but they stopped selling the small bag of cat food, so I actually changed the order around, and I have a bigger bag coming less often. So that just came last month, so that's zeroed. This year, we started a new way of paying our mortgage. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go. Obviously, with it still being January, this is the first month we're trying it out. But what I'm actually doing is sending half of the mortgage to our Ally bank account each time my husband is paid, and then I have the mortgage being auto drafted from our Ally checking account. And my plan here, when I'm able to, I'm not going to budget for it now because I'm not sure how the month will play out, if we will have extra income. If we have extra income in a paycheck, I will probably make this $808, $908, whatever extra I can put in here, because my goal is to have an extra half a mortgage payment sitting in this account at all times. My concern with doing it this way is if something happens that the pay is delayed, or there's a holiday in there, or the dates fall funny and the extra payment does not get to our Ally account in time and it is drafted, I do not want to obviously not have enough money in there to make our mortgage payment. So that's my plan. Otherwise, it's really just $708 each pay. Chase, this is the one credit card that we do have. Every time my husband's paid, I will go in there and check and see what the balance is, enter that in here, and pay that off. We do have a couple bills that are auto drafted to our Chase credit card, and also we use it for our gas. Otherwise, we don't charge much to that card, and if we do, we take the cash out of our cash envelopes and put it in an envelope to be deposited back in the bank. Groceries, we budget $200 for each half of the month. Our trash bill is actually a quarterly bill that will not be due until April, I believe. So I take the $27 for our trash and I put it into our savings account. You can see this is noted savings on the side. Our water bill used to be quarterly. It is now going to be monthly with our sewer bill. So I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to delete that whole line and add this as water sewer. And what I used to do was take the $50 for the water portion and put it to our savings account each month, so that when the water bill came due each quarter, I had the money to pay it. Now that this will be billed together monthly, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to look. We were not yet notified if our water rates have changed or how that might impact us. So for now, I'm just going to switch our water sewer bill. Our sewer bill is normally $115 every month. It's robbery. And I estimate about $50 a month for our water. So I am going to just change this to $160. Actually, I'm going to make it $175. I like to estimate on the higher end when I'm not exactly sure what to expect. That way, at the end of the month, if the bill comes in lower than anticipated, that's great. We have a couple extra dollars instead of the other way around where we estimate low and now it's kind of screws up our budget when the bill comes in higher. Yoli, I don't know if you remember, but this was a network marketing company I used to be involved with. I just officially canceled my entire account last week. So this is completely gone forever. My husband does go to the gym. That's $10. That will come out the second pay of the month. And you can see over here, that's one of those auto bills I mentioned that get charged right to our Visa. Gas is just an estimate. I keep saying that I need to start tracking our gas, and I keep forgetting to do so, but I like to track this every couple months and make sure that my estimates are good estimates and I'm not way off base here throwing my budget off each month. So I'm actually going to write myself a quick note to track gas for the month of February. And if you have my budget binder, you also have an expense tracker in there that you can utilize. You can utilize it for all your expenses, or you can print out multiple to track one specific expense per page if that helps keep you more organized. Our pet insurance is $54.50 per month. That's for our 2 pups, and that is auto drafted to our Chase Visa. And our cable is one of those bills that just changed. I'm super bummed that they increased this. I'm not sure what we're going to do about it yet. That went up to $65.74, and I'm probably going to end up either calling them and trying to renegotiate, or we might cancel it altogether and go forward with something like Sling TV or Hulu Live. I'm just not sure yet because we have some funky internet connections in half of our house, so I feel like that might be more aggravation than is worth the savings. Another expense we have now for the next couple months is my daughter's summer camp. Now you can pay this in full, but it comes due right around Christmas time, and I just wasn't going to do that this year. They offer a completely interest-free PayPal payment monthly option. So I took that. So now until June, well, I think I started paying it in December. So December through June, I will pay $34.38. That's just an auto charge right to my PayPal account. Now moving down to our cash envelopes, I'm going to change some of these. I'm going to make the kids stuff $25 per envelope because I'm going to make the kids stuff $25 per pay because that has dwindled down due to some soccer signups and some other stuff we had going on. I'm going to make gifts $30 per pay this month. We finally have gotten through our major birthday rush until we get towards summer. So I will just steadily add some money to that and hopefully purchase some gifts in advance when I see them. Our house maintenance, we are redoing my son's room now and moving some things around, and we do have a lot of work that needs to be done on our house. I would love to put $100 per pay in this envelope, but we just can't swing it right now, so I'm going to keep it at $25 per pay until I see if we have any extra. And if we do have extra, then I might bump that up for the second half of the month. Same thing with the car. Our car envelope is pretty wiped out. I'm going to keep that at $25. We're still in sick season here for a while, and our doctor medicine envelope was pretty wiped out as well. So I mentioned before, we are very fortunate to have wonderful, wonderful insurance. I am just going to put $10 per pay in that envelope for now. The vet care I'm going to bump back up to $25 per pay. Our personal money, you can see here, my husband gets $75 and I actually get $60, but if you recall, I used 20 of that up top for the stash investing account. So I take 20 in stash and I take 40 in cash. And once we are complete baby step 3, we will likely be increasing both of our personal money for the month. Kids commission, I do $10 and I'll take those out in ones when I fill our cash envelope so I can pay our kids each week. I do have a video on our entire kid commission system. I will link that up in the cards so you can check that out. Lunch money, I put $10 per pay. That covers lunch for my son for school. He purchases at school once a week, and it also keeps a couple dollars in the envelope for when my husband has training days and needs to buy lunch. Toiletries, this is something I started back up, I think maybe last month. It's not a huge deal, but I feel like we seem to buy our toiletries a lot at one time. So it seems to be a bigger bill at one time, and then I don't buy anything for a while. So I just started putting $10 aside for that so that when I do purchase everything at once, I'm not having to take it all from our miscellaneous spend and kind of blow that category for the week. haircuts. My daughter and I are both going to get our hair done next week, and I actually have a gift card which will cover a lot of mine. Not all of it though. That will wipe us out. I'm going to have to pay for my daughter's and tip, obviously. So I'm going to do $10 each pay to try and build haircuts back up because my son and husband will need one soon as well. I also started putting $25 a week aside for Sam's Club. I've thought about possibly just keeping this in our bank account because often when I go to Sam's Club, I use their app instead of standing in line, and that charges right to your card. So there's so many times that I'm taking this cash and putting it back in the envelope to deposit in the bank, which is kind of becoming tedious. So I might make this more of an electronic cash envelope, keep the money in the bank, and just keep track on my sinking fund tracker how much I have allocated for Sam's Club. I'll think about that for next month. Restaurants, I do $30 a pay. Honestly, we eat out so rarely that this $30 is usually absorbed into miscellaneous, and the same thing with entertainment. But if you've seen my videos before, then you know I basically just take this 30, 30, and 40, so $100, and lump it in as our bi-weekly spend. And I might just change that on here altogether because it's kind of pointless to break it down when we use it for whatever. So our bi-weekly spend is $100. That means I take $100 each pay, and it kind of sits there for whatever we need. If we have things come up, or we need extra things from the grocery store and we ran out of food money, or my husband wants to grab a Monster on the way to work, anything small that comes up that we don't have enough money in another envelope or another category specifically allocated for it, we pull from that spend. And when we were paying off debt, that spend was substantially less. And it's now, I think it was $70 at that time. And now that we're debt free, we're up to $100. And that's another category that once our emergency fund is complete, we will likely up that spend as well. So you can see down here, that brings all of our expenses to $1,943.09. Now, if you come up here, you can see I'm technically over budget because I am only estimating $1,900. He would have more than that since he does get a small amount of money from the VA each month, which would actually bridge that gap. However, that won't be coming because of the government shutdown. So I'm not sure when that money will be coming in. Hopefully it's by the end of the month and it'll bridge that gap. It should be fine. I'm not worried about it. But what that does is leave us technically a bit over budget for this week. I'm not too worried about it. If his pay doesn't come in a little bit higher, I will just take less for one of our envelopes. You know, you just have to be flexible with your budget and be able to, you know, cut here or add there when money allows or does not allow for it. So I'm not very worried about it. So I just need to fix the formula in this. This spreadsheet is set up so that it will tell me what I can put in baby step 3 in our emergency fund each pay. So as you can see, because we're over budget, this has me not being able to put anything away for baby step 3 this paycheck. Again, hopefully my husband's income will come in higher than I estimated. I did not get a chance to ask him before filming this video what he expects it to be at, so that's just kind of my best guess for now. You can see it actually has us saving negative $54 for the second half of the month. So I have to admit, I'm definitely bummed. I was hoping we'd have a little bit extra this month that we could really start saving. However, the silver lining is that we should still have a substantial tax refund coming this year. Who knows when? I don't know if we will receive it anytime soon with the shutdown or how that will be impacting tax returns, but that should give us a nice big cushion because our tax return is set aside for nothing. The entire tax return will go into our Ally account to save for baby step 3, so I'm not too stressed about it this month. But it does frustrate me when we don't have extra money to save because I don't have much patience and I really wanted to get through this baby step 3 real quick. I have a video on our goals and our plans for baby step 3. I'll link that up in the cards and you can check that out and see what our plan is, how much we're planning on saving, and when we would like to have that saved by. And then you'll probably see why I'm being impatient. But it's okay. We'll figure it out. It's all going to work out. fine. That's all I have to share on this budget. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will answer them to the best of my abilities, and I'll help you in any way that I can. All right, that was the budget for February. Did you get your February budget done yet? How are you doing with saving and planning and paying off debt for the new year? I want to know how it's going for you. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back next time. Bye.